Have you checked out Change Cars yet? That's the website where you can find your next car, because they only list cars from franchise dealers, giving you total peace of mind. That's changecars.co.za. The dynamic shield face, as Mitsubishi call it, with this chrome glossy round the sides. It's the face on all models in the Mitsubishi range these days, and this is the latest version of the Outlander. Launched very recently in South Africa, fairly quietly snuck onto the market, and we've got it on test. It's grown a bit, it's a little bit bigger, it's a little bit bolder than the previous version that we did test quite a few years ago. And you can see it's grown up a little bit. It really does look the part of your 7-seater SUV that can do a bit of off-roading, and especially considering it does have Mitsubishi's super all-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive system. Very important fact. You come around the side over here and just show you a few little features. Nice big 20-inch wheels that really, I think, contribute to the comfortable ride that you'll hear about during this video. And something else to prove that it does have some off-road credentials: 210 millimeters of ground clearance. That is pretty significant, and it's a pretty big figure. You've got little buttons here for keyless entry and push button start inside the car. Let's pop open the rear door over here and have a look, and you'll see a number of features quickly, but I'm going to show you just very briefly one or two things, and then we'll look at 7-seat access just now. You've got USBs down at the bottom over there, A and C for the middle, and interestingly, it's 3-zone air conditioning or climate control on this car, so you can actually set the temperature for the rear seat, for the rear compartment over there. Something else that is a useful feature, considering it's a 7-seater, is that the rear seats can be slid forward and backward to create legroom, extra legroom for the rearmost passengers as well. Note this really nice quilted leather trim that you have throughout the car on the top spec Aspire model. You come round to the back and you'll notice the tail lights going right into the C-pillar over here, all the way around and into the rear hatch, which on both models does have the very nice feature of the powered tailgate. Now, you're going to have, and notice the typical situation with every 7-seater, in that the extra seats are down now, but if I pull up the seat, nice and easy, isn't it? Note the lack of boot space in 7-seat mode. It's the same with all its competitors. There's nothing to complain about. Nice and easy as well to drop the seat when you want to. And there's an interesting feature over here, which is if I pull this lever, boom, down goes the middle seat. I like that little feature as well. Press the button to close the rear hatch, and take note of the fact that both models are powered by a 2.5 litre now, up from 2.4 litres in the previous version, 4-cylinder petrol engine, giving you 135 kilowatts, 245 newton meters of torque through an 8-step CV. I always like to show you the access and space in the rearmost seats, because that's what you're going to buy this vehicle for. So what do? I've got the middle row seats as far forward as it can go. Now, all you do is the strap over here, you give it a good tug, and there it drops down. The seat's slightly too far forward, but there you see how it works. Now, what's it like for an old guy like me to get into the rearmost seats? That's the next test, isn't it? Well, bit of a step up, and in, and across, and there I go. Headroom, oopsie. Okay, but these are not built for adults. Let's be fair, let's be honest. These are built for kids. So kids, the headroom, I suppose, will be all right. I'm kind of just fitting. Legroom, I'm not going to lift that seat up now. You can see, though, it's limited, but with the seat fairly far forward, I think youngsters will definitely be comfortable, and that's who these seats are built for. So for the family, you'll be able to do it, no problem. On the road, the thing that struck me virtually straight away with this new Outlander is actually just how smooth it is driving, whether it's around suburbia or even more so on a freeway. I really found it very smooth, very comfortable, very relaxed. And that, as a 7-seater family vehicle, isn't that just what you want, quite honestly? The 8-step CVT automatic is smooth, it's easy, I haven't noticed or felt a gear shift in any spot whatsoever. No, I haven't gone into sport mode. It's not that kind of car in my book. I don't believe you need to. It's got more than enough power, overtaking. Yes, maybe the CVT will just raise the revs a little bit if you want to push it like that, but it really, overall, just the comfort is what I've noticed. The 135 kilowatts, 245 Newton meters of torque from this 2.5 litre 4-cylinder petrol engine, it's certainly more than enough, and it does the job so nicely, easily, comfortably. And of course, Mitsubishi's super all-wheel drive, as they call it, is just, in my book, more a safety function than for necessarily off-road. But as I'll show you just now, it does allow the settings for different road conditions and off-road conditions if that's what you're wanting. But as a family vehicle, fortunately, unfortunately, most of this test has just been on urban roads and a little bit of freeway. We didn't even do a road trip in this one. It really has struck me just with the overall comfort and just smooth riding. That really, I think, is a feature I'd like to point out to you. Coming up, let's just see our 3-point turn spot, as I call it now, and let's see how this one takes the 3-point turn. And if we can do it in one go for a change, and are we going to make it? Oh, it's tight, but you know what? We actually did it for once. It shows it's a nice, easy vehicle. It may be big, but it's easy to drive. It's easy around suburbia, and it's even pretty easy, I would say, to park in the shopping centers. Something that you want to know if you're going to use it for family use. Starting off behind the wheel, as always, let's have a look. Fuel economy. We've done 485 kilometers on this test. No road trip, very little open road, a bit of freeway. Otherwise, it's really been suburbia. So 9 liters per 100, I think, is not a bad figure, quite honestly. Mitsubishi say 8.1. Well, we all know that includes, obviously, the overall figure, and if I'd done some open road, I would have got it down quite considerably, I'm prepared to bet you. What's also interesting is it comes with, I think, slightly small 55 litre tank on this car. For a car of this sort, I would like 65, even 70 litre tank. And if you look at that, there's 104 kilometers remaining in the tank. There you go. It's pretty accurate, saying that that figure I'm giving you is true to the tank range, etc. Also, take note of the fact this car's only done 1,700 kilometers. So it's still pretty new, and that obviously will help a little bit over time as well. But the instrumentation is pretty comprehensive. You have even got paddles on the steering wheel. You know I don't touch them, but they're there. You've got cruise control. I would expect that, obviously, on a vehicle like this. And you've got all the other controls you want on the steering wheel. Another function that I did find useful on this car, and that does only apply to the Aspire top model, is you have got memories, 2 memory settings for the driver's seat as well, which obviously is fully electric. An interesting feature is the passenger seat is electric, but it doesn't have height adjustment. It does adjust, but not height. And just little things, but sometimes you kind of have to wonder about how they decide on spec on some cars. Anyway, just little things I'm mentioning to you. Nice big screen over here. You can see it is the clarity is very good, etc. And of course, your reverse camera. Clear, easy. It works well. I've got no complaints. There you go. You can see it. Very important. And you can also go to different camera settings over there if you want to switch it on. But just showing you that one, for example, and all your other functions on the screen. Something that I've started doing recently is Android Auto, but using a cable, not using wireless, even if the car does have. And I must tell you that using it that way, very easy, worked very well, and I was very happy with how it worked. You've got a USB A and C at the front over here, so you can choose between which one of those two you want. Your dual zone climate control, in fact 3-zone climate control, because you've got for the rear as well. Nice, easy, works well. And you have got warmers for the 2 front seats. These are all good features. Now, I mentioned the super all-wheel drive that Mitsubishi have, and here's the controller for eco normal, as I said, in driving modes, and then for road conditions as well, and a hill descent control that you just press the little button in the center over there. Simple, easy, and exactly what you want. I don't know if this car is really built for full-on off-roading, but that's not the point, is it? And of course, the modern style gear shifter now that seems to become so popular. Works nicely, very effective, and very easy. Decent sized little cubbyhole over here, armrest. Well, these are all things you expect. I don't think I have to mention too much to you. Very nice leather soft touch finish around the dash. All these are features, again, I know you expect on a car of this sort. Now, in this model, and there are 2 in the range, with a very small price difference, which is interesting. What are the differences between the 2? Because that's really important, isn't it? Well, on the Aspire, as we're in right now, you get the nice big panoramic roof, and you get the quilted leather throughout the seats and even on the door panels. You get the quilted leather. And that's really the main differences between the 2 models. So it's not a big difference, but they're differences and they're there. And I suppose they do count. You get the paddles and things like that on this version. But otherwise, they both have exactly the same engine, gearbox, super all-wheel drive, etc., that you expect. Pricing, well, 730,000 Rand for the lower model, and the Aspire comes in at 760,000 Rand. Includes a 5-year, 90,000 kilometer service plan as well. If you look at it, and now you try and put it into market context, and I was looking at this and struggling to work out where I would place this in the market. It's not as big as a Fortuner Everest or Isuzu MUX. No, it's probably similar in size to the Mahindra XUV 700 and the Chery Tiggo 8. That's where I would put it. But then those 2 I mentioned last don't offer all-wheel drive. So again, it swings and roundabouts, and you've got to look at where exactly it fits into the market. It almost is in a little segment all of its own, quite honestly. The only other one that probably comes into it would be the VW Tiguan Allspace, which I haven't tested, but spec to this level would cost you quite a bit more than that 760,000 Rand. So it's a good, interesting choice, isn't it? And it's a choice you need to make for yourself. But one thing I will tell you, it is smooth, it is comfortable, and it certainly fills the role of a family vehicle that can even take 7 if that's what you want. For Motor Matters, I'm Alan R. See you next time.